YouTube is the name of my channel. And I'm celebrating 10 months on YouTube as of yesterday. I'm from Houston, Texas, United States of America, and you're watching a channel that has over 125 plus subscribers. Thank you so much for caring about my channel and watching my videos. I'm ready to open speculation again. And while I may not be sure if Polyphony Digital may pick up on my videos or my ideas, at least it's always fun to speculate. So that's why I want to talk about something that's been featured before but never really found its stride. In fact, never been a competition at all. Drag racing in Gran Turismo 5. Now, if you want to know about the history of drag racing in GT games, I've put another thing on my whiteboard here. In Gran Turismo 1, you had your basic 400 to 1,000 meter competitions. If you were fortunate, you would pick up both HKS drag racing cars in Gran Turismo 2. Then for Gran Turismo, what was then Gran Turismo 2000, there was note of a drag racing kind of mode, but it never came to fruition. And so for Gran Turismo 4, for the first time ever, a proper, well, not really a proper drag strip, was featured for the first time, as you could race down the strip in Las Vegas. So when it comes down to drag racing, one of the things to consider is, how do you implement drag racing, and could drag racing actually pick up? Some say it has no mention in Gran Turismo, but I say it's racing competition. Gran Turismo needs a whole lot of different kinds of racing, and one of the most basic is drag racing. Now, in its simplest form, drag racing is all about acceleration and top speed. It's all about getting a good reaction time, then blasting down the straight towards the finish, and making sure that you pass the line before your opponent does. Of course, you also want to make sure you don't red light, because you don't want to leave early. So, it's time for me to offer some speculation and some insight. But first, let me talk about some perspective from other games. Now let's talk about drag racing in other games, with two that I featured on this whiteboard. Sega GT was one of those games. It was a game that featured 0 to 400 meter challenges, 0 to 1,000 meter challenges, and then that half-mile pass in what looks like something similar to the Bonneville Salt Flats. In order for you to advance to the next heat, by the way, there are 4 heats, you must defeat your opponent to advance to the next round. And of course, if you win, then you just win it all. Now, despite the fact there are heats in the game, you don't have a bracket set up. So you're not, facing off against somebody else. So it's kind of a realistic drag racing deal, but not really. Now let's take a look at a game that I liked much more than Sega GT. Need for Speed Pro Street. In this game you had half-mile and quarter-mile challenges. For the most part, these were competitions about the best overall ET for one race, or a wheelie competition, which I will not discuss in this video. You have about 3 different heats, and you have a mini game to enhance the grip of your car. And the way you do this is, you rev up the engine, and the longer you stay in the green area, the more grip you'll have as you blast your way down the track. And it's best you find a very good rear-wheel drive car. I know that when I rented Need for Speed Pro Street, I think the first drag racing car I had was a Chevrolet Cobalt, which is a front-wheel drive car. It got me by a little bit. Then I think I got me a super Impreza WRX, and I really started doing well with the all-wheel drive system, which gave me some better grip down the block. So these are just 2 games that have highlighted on the drag racing experience. Now let's talk about some considerations and such when talking about Gran Turismo 5 drag racing. When considering drag racing for Gran Turismo 5, we have to consider a number of things. So let me give you a makeshift drag strip to give you my own ideas. As you can see here, I made my own drag strip. You get into your water box, This will help you to burn out the tires. And then you're going to head down the track a little bit, then come right back. And then when it's time to start staging, basically what happens is that you start moving a little bit to the first staging light, then you go to the second staging light, 3 amber lights will go off, and immediately afterwards, if you don't jump, you get a green light. If you do jump, you get a red light, and you hand the win over to the other opponent. And basically your job is to get from the starting line all the way to wherever the end is. Usually a quarter-mile drag strip, but there's also 1/8 mile and half-mile competitions. Now there's various kinds of cars that are raced in this kind of racing. I've basically named these by type, and I'm not really going to go into any real detail. Plus, I don't know enough about drag racing to be a pro, so you're going to have to help me out here. Okay. You have some of your street stock cars. You have your bracket racers. You have various outlaw classes. You have races featuring on engine and fuel types, like for example diesel and then methanol or something like that. You have your proper drag racing machines, your top fuelers. You got the pro stock machines, and you have funny car. You also have series based on drivetrains. Now when I mean drivetrain, I usually hear of classes like pro rear wheel drive and pro front wheel drive. Rear wheel drive is the preferred drivetrain of drag racers, but there is a class for front wheel drives, and oftentimes it is pretty satisfying to go around in a 4-cylinder or 6-cylinder front wheel drive car and smoke a pretty good American car. So the possibilities are endless, especially considering we have online racing available. Now, can this catch on? Absolutely. If there's a kind of racing that people love, people are going to flock to it, and they're going to support it as much as they can. And in my view, drag racing is going to be pretty good for GT5 if we get it and if it's implemented perfectly. Imagine all the different bracket battles. Imagine all the different kinds of classes and all the different kinds of racing. Whether you're doing online racing or you're racing against the computer. I think it's been long overdue that Gran Turismo established drag racing. Gran Turismo 4 had its own drag strip. Gran Turismo 2 had its own drag racing cars. Now we need to put the two together and come along with a proper drag racing mode for Gran Turismo 5. Now there are people who say that drag racing isn't real racing and that it's boring. But still, at the end of the day, it's racing. In fact, I tend to look at drag racing as a good opportunity to test the performance capabilities of your car by testing top speed and acceleration. So this is a double bonus kind of situation. But what do you think about drag racing for Gran Turismo 5? Be sure to send me some comments below. My name is John Marine. Thank you so much for watching my video. To see more, please visit youtube.com/JohnMarineTube. And if you love this video, share this video with your friends. Hopefully they can love my channel and subscribe to my channel and comment at the same time. Thank you so much for your time and consideration. My name is John Marine. Love and peace. Take care.